Hey everyone, welcome to Ink Scribes, the comics podcast where we discuss the art and craft of comics. I'm Colin Singh, I'm an aspiring comics artist, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Eric Zawadzki, the artist on Assorted Crisis Events, the first trade paperback for which is out now from Image Comics, and Taylor Stauft, the creator of Luke Zenith's Wedding Day, which is featured in the anthology Faster Than Light Volume 2. Today, a very special episode, the first of many, where we look at the career of José Ladrönn, starting with his tenure at Marvel Comics.
Yeah, so had you guys read this stuff when it first came out? Are you guys familiar with Jose Ladrone? Like,
No,
Of
this was
course,
all
I'm
new.
familiar with José Ladrönn. What? But I will say, I have read most. I actually read Cable Minus One when it came out, but I was pretty young at the time, so my tastes were not kind of geared towards that style. But since then, obviously, I grew up, I matured, and my tastes matured. And rereading this book for this episode actually really put a smile on my face. It's absolutely beautiful. And but aside from that, his first work, which was Shadows and Light, number one, I had not read that before, but I love that one as well. The Blade versus Dracula story. I hadn't read it at the time, but reading it for this episode, I loved it. It was absolutely gorgeous stuff.
what about you, Taylor? You weren't familiar with Jose Ladrone's work?
No. This like the '90s is as I've said before, a real blind spot for me. So this was a real surprise. I was expecting a lot more Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld ripoff stuff, and then
That's
come
the
to find
'90s.
out,
Yeah,
yeah, and then come to find out, no, well, it kind of has some of that in the I don't know in the technique, but the design sense is super Kirby, which was like what a fun discovery. it's it's not what I was expecting, but it is a lot cooler than I actually expected.
So I tried to read as many interviews as I could, and yeah, there I could only find like one and a half interviews, and then there was actually he did an interview earlier in 2025 with a YouTube channel, Comics Rot Your Brain. So that was very handy. But otherwise, I don't know too much about him as a person. But I have this book, Unhuman: the Elephant Men Art of Ladrone, which he has a long history of working with letterer extraordinaire Richard Starkings, and so I just want to quickly read like Richard Starkings' bio here. Okay, so Ladrone. Ladrone was born and raised in Veracruz, Mexico. After leaving art school at the age of 21, he managed a design studio and later worked for Televisa Veracruz as a designer of animated station promotionals. His goal was always to work as a painter, and he never considered creating comics, especially not for the American market, until he visited the San Diego Comic Con with a friend in 1995. So that's some interesting context where he always just wanted to be a painter. And
Yeah,
yeah, much like John Buscema.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Check out our Silver Surfer episode, John Buscema. Yeah, it's weird when you hear about guys who just kind of came upon comics. Like how all three of us have been thinking about drawing comics as a career for a lot of decades at this point.
yeah,
And then for
so
him to just be like, "Oh, that'd be cool to do," and then do it, like, damn, good for
yeah,
you.
and he was able to bring those painting skills into comics. So just we're gonna mainly cover these three comics, but I just want to do a very quick like look at his transformations because he starts off looking very Kirby like, very Kirby like,
Oh yeah.
with a mix of Moebius. Like it's
yeah,
the kind of
Hmm.
the style of Kirby and the attention to detail of Moebius and the creativity of both. But he then eventually realizes that he wants to start painting his own work because this was him just penciling, so working with an inker. And in this Thor annual, he ends up at the very back, and it does not show up well on this matte paper, but he starts painting his own work, and then shortly after that, he starts an Inhumans series. And this is a little better because it's on glossy paper, so the colors are reproduced probably a little more faithfully to how he intended. And that
He only did the first 3 of those, though, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, he ended up being replaced because comics are an assembly line process, and he is a very meticulous artist, and he has difficulty letting go of the page. But from there, he works with Richard Starkings on Elephant Man. And, I mean, look at this gorgeous cover.
Yeah, it just gets more Moebius as you put things down.
Yeah, like these books are stunning. Like, he ended up winning an Eisner Award for this stuff.
Yeah,
so,
he won Best Feature for that one.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of Kirby in this work.
No.
There's way more Moebius with this stuff.
Some of the faces, some of the kind of flatness, or not flatness, but like they're almost like carved.
Boxy?
Yeah, carved from stone. But that's kind of lessened too by the use of paint and kind of giving a more roundness to the figures overall.
Yeah, and his favorite comic of all time, I think, is the Inkle. So it was a dream come true to work on Final Inkle, and it's a dream come true for him to work with Jodorowsky. So he went all out with this book. This is one of the most beautiful comics that you could ever find, I think.
Yeah.
Make sure to check out our Best Tech episode to see the first time we took a look at this.
Yeah, and a side note, though, the Humanoids hardcovers are beautiful, beautiful books. I have a bunch of them, and really great binding, really well put together, really high quality stock.
They do look nice, yeah.
Yeah, this book is gorgeous, which we will probably cover more in depth one day. And from there, his most recent works were with Jodorowsky, The Sons of El Topo.
Yeah.
This one just came out like, I think, did it come out in 2023 or 2024? Actually, I don't know if we can show too much of this book. It's pretty...
Specifically not that one. Flip through number 2.
Yeah.
In fact, I've only read number 3 once, and I don't think I'll ever read it again.
What are we not showing?
There's just violence and gore and...
okay.
And, yeah.
There's some sexual violence. There's a lot of boobs. I mean, it's Jodorowsky.
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah, he's really shed those Kirby leanings by this point, eh?
And I should also say, like, this. Where's this? So it was this one. This is a hardcover collection of like it's supposed to be like 4 issues. And it took 25 years to complete those 4 issues. He did like 2 issues in the 2000s. He did 1 issue, which came out in 2012. And the final issue just came out in 2025. So that was one of those like long, incomplete stories that is finally out there.
That almost sounds like... I was late, and then the writer got sick, and then I got sick, and then the writer took other gigs, and then I took other gigs, and
no,
I mean, forever to find time.
It was not Richard Starkings. I think what happened was, he was taking his time. Like, he won an Eisner for this, and I think he has difficulty letting go of the page, and so Richard Starkings, I think, saw what happened with Inhumans and basically said, whenever you're ready, you can get this done.
Oh, wow.
And he took a long time. And then Jodorowsky came calling. Right. And he dropped everything and this is just me speculating. I speculate that he just dropped everything to work with his hero Jodorowsky to do Final Inkle and then Sons of El Topo. And then when all that freed up, he finally could do the last issue.
He formed a really interesting relationship with Jodorowsky. Like he helped him realize the final installments of both Inkle and El Topo. Like there wasn't even supposed to be a sequel to El Topo, except maybe in Jodorowsky's head. And he actually changed his style significantly for both projects. He's a very versatile artist, and I do much more prefer like his more like the Elephant Men stuff compared to anything else, even the Inhuman stuff. But again, his Marvel work, like his Kirby infused stuff that he did for Marvel, it's great to look at now. That my tastes have matured and everything. I loved looking at this stuff, especially the Spider-Boy and Cable issues.
Yeah, so these are 90s comics, and it should be noted that like when all of these were coming out, it was in the midst of Heroes Reborn when Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld were had taken over like Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Avengers, and everybody in the 90s was trying to draw like Jim Lee. So it must have been like wild. I mean, it was wild to see somebody influenced by Jack Kirby coming out when everybody else is trying to draw like Jim Lee. But first up, his very first published work was in this Marvel Shadow and Light. This is interesting. This is a Tony Daniel cover. Back when he had a completely different style, he had more cartooning in his work, and I think
can you open it up to see both sides.
Oh yeah, it's double-sided. Yeah, I think Tony Daniel was, technically speaking, not as good an artist as he is today, but he had a more interesting style back then.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, a lot more energetic.
Yeah, that's the word. Because it's, well, what does Eric say all the time? Style is everything you do wrong. And yeah, it's like technicality can take the energy out of stuff.
It makes you do less wrong things and irons out all the quirks and interesting parts of your style. So this book is really interesting because it's got like, it's got John Paulione, Ladrönn, as we established. I don't know who this Wilfred artist is, but it's also got Michael Golden.
Yeah.
So a lot of great stuff here.
3 guys that we've done episodes on.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you guys think of this? It's a Dracula story technically, but it's more of a Blade story.
Yeah, this is kind of, I feel like this might, because this is 97, so this is what, in the lead up to the Blade movie coming out?
Yeah, the first Blade movie was in 1998, right?
Yeah, so I could see this being, it's kind of, it does have that kind of Tomb of Dracula feel, but they've completely jettisoned the Dracula. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like, remember that Blade is a character. Keep your eye on that.
Yeah, but the story ends kind of very open-ended. Like you think that either Blade dies or it's to be continued or something or other. But reading the story, though, I know overall, like the main overarching influence is Kirby and his Marvel stuff, but each individual story, this one, Spider-Boy and Cable, I found that a secondary influence, you could say. And for this one, I thought it was Moebius. This is very Moebius to me, especially the storytelling. Like Moebius is one of my favorite artists. What I love about his stuff is same with Frank Quietly, where every panel is still a fully realized world, even though it's like maybe 2 figures and like a window behind them. You can still fill in everything else. And I got a lot of that from this. And the storytelling is really interesting too. I think on the page where I think it's page 3, where he steps on that corpse and lifts his boot up.
Yeah, right here.
And then it immediately flips to a left-facing Blade portrait, right? So
Yeah.
it's going right, and then his face is going left, which I thought it still works really well. And there's all the directional lines that help the eye flow through the page. But yeah, definitely Moebius is the secondary influence that I saw in this stuff.
Yeah, I think just the overall detail and meticulous quality to Moebius is all over his work.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, definitely stylistically, all this stuff you can't divorce the Kirby out of it. Yeah,
He's kind of
there's
he's bringing more atmosphere to this than I think of when I think Kirby or Moebius, though. Like it's just kind of like
yeah.
he's
I
capturing
mean,
the mist better, I guess,
and
or something.
it doesn't have the pacing of like a Kirby comic.
No, no, it's
But
really a slow investigation.
yeah, and just like Kirby did all these like little squiggles as like just lighting effects, I suppose.
Yeah, there's kind of a shine.
Well, aesthetically too, I think knowing that it was only going to be black and white and it was probably never going to be colored, he really applied a lot more texture and atmosphere to each panel, like with the smoke and even the texture of the clothes, the corpses, all the backgrounds, bricks, everything are nicely realized, and he still uses a lot of light and shadow overall. Like there's not a lot of of white space that's exposed, but he does use it very strategically when he does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a black and white anthology comic is like a true test of what separates artists who rely too much on a colorist and then artists whose work can exist in black and white. And yeah, I mean he passes the test here, right? Like this is very readable. Um, yeah, I think that way back when artists kind of always needed to have their work exist in black and white because of like the bad printing and color
yeah,
reproductions,
Mm.
which is why you can open like any essential or showcase book from like the Silver Age or Bronze Age or whatever, and it all looks good. But I think it's more of a modern thing to rely more on the colorist, which is not a bad thing. But I think it seems to slowly become a lost art. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's exaggerating, but like there's not as many artists out there whose work can look great just on its own in black and white.
yeah,
And we should say that like this was inked by Juan Velasco, so he's bringing quite a bit to the table himself.
Yeah,
I
he
like
did
how
a
the
great job with
mist.
cable work too.
He was the inker. I don't know who the story behind Juan Velasco, but he was his Ladrön's inker through the late '90s before he started doing everything himself. I like how the mist kind of like goes into the gutter space here.
yeah.
It's
Because he
very
seems to
cool.
use it to kind of direct you around at times.
Mhm.
The those the boot and face that Colin you were mentioning the earlier the mist kind of leads you from one to the next.
Yeah, the directional lines are all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think there's something in. Now, I didn't go to art school, so I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. But I think there's this thing called the like 80-20 rule, like 80%, 20%, where in terms of contrast, where your eye goes directly to the most contrast. So if you have like 20% black on the page and 80% negative space, white, then your eye is going to go to that 20%. So like right here, we have, I mean, that the 80-20 rule right there, we have more white than black. And so our eyes go straight to the black. So it's very smart thinking to put a lot of the black on him. So we're focused on him as a figure. And
Mhm.
this just sort of frames him.
Frames him and gives you a starting point, and then it leads down to his head and then the rest of his body, right?
Yeah, and it's the same throughout all this. Like a lot of the spot blacks are on him on this entire page. So yeah, very very intelligent use of contrast to show us what's going on. Which again, like he started off as a painter, so he's bringing that knowledge to his black and white work, which as an artist, try to be as well-rounded as possible, because all those skills aid everything. If you're a great painter, it'll make your black and white work a lot better. And yeah, he's just an overall good designer as well. Like, he's got this Blade has this really cool jacket, and then underneath he's got these like knives, this cool knife belt. And he's thinking about lighting a lot. Like right here, he's outside in the mist, but when he gets into this building, like José Ladrönn has like figured out, the room is going to be lit by this fireplace and by these like torches on the stairwell.
Yeah, so he's focusing you and directing you still, right? Like the lines of the areas of the white are still like kind of pushing you further down that page.
Yeah, it's very, very well done. It's a very cool looking comic overall. It's such an interesting contrast with like the amount of lines on a page on the page here compared to JP Leon, which like this. I don't think this JP Leon stuff is following the 80-20 rule, because it seems more like 50-50, but
Yeah.
there's just not a lot of detail work, and you have like entire figures silhouetted, and then compare to here where there's just so much line work. So this is interesting because that bio said that he went to San Diego Con 1995, was it?
6 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, 1995, and then this came out, I believe, December 1996. It's got a cover date of February 1997, so it came out in December.
Damn.
Yeah, he decided he wanted to get into comics, and he got his first gig about a year and a half later.
Damn. And yeah, well, I mean, if you have the, because he's also an animator, right? He's like a designer for animation, so he's already got some kind of storytelling background there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting the line use too, because it's so easy. It would be so easy for him to get figures lost in it. It's a very judicious use of lines, despite how many he uses. He's somehow not overdoing it in like, I definitely would, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, right here, he knows when to hold back. Like he puts a whole bunch of lines here, and then like sort of holds back surrounding the figure. And same thing here. Like a lot of the extra lines are on the outskirts of this panel, but it gets less detailed as you get closer to the figures.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Pepe Larraz talks about this periodically on his Instagram. Shout out to Pepe Larraz, one of the greats, modern greats, and the use of thinking in terms of light instead of line. But Ladrönn is like, he's kind of merging these two, like, yeah, there'll be less lines, but I'm still going to use them. Line isn't going to define, isn't going to make light, but it's going to help give it shape, I guess.
Yeah. And that is a good point, thinking about like lighting, thinking about shape. Man, there's just so much you have to think about as an artist.
Well, I mean, I think the goal ultimately for all of us is you don't even have to think about it. You just kind of know it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of it ends up becoming intuitive. And I guess part of this show is to force us to absorb all this comics art. Despite our busy lives, this kind of like forces us to look at a new artist every week, absorb as much as possible, and hopefully it comes out in our own work.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to happen. One of these days.
Yeah. It slowly is. That's the thing, is you don't even realize it is. It just is. This is a nice use of silhouette right here.
It is, yeah, because it feels like they're tumbling both down and across. It's really,
it's got a kind of a diagonal quality to the storytelling.
Yeah.
And that is such a striking image right there. Like, just the thing is that like in the future, when he's painting his own work, he's like relying on like Photoshop effects or like painting effects to create this light. But this is he's only got black and white to work with, and so you get this very graphic looking light effect as this like priest. Is this a priest? Like is standing over Blade?
Yeah, the storytelling again is much like Moebius or even any European artist, where it's using the full page. Like there's a thinner border around, as well as like there's like 8 panel pages, 9 panel pages, but these pages are every panel is fully realized. Every panel is like a beautiful, like cinematic shot. Like again, like the world is still fully realized inside, even if it's just two figures.
Yeah, and I don't know how long he had to do. Like, how many pages is this? This is like,
It's 8, I think.
I think it's like 12 pages. Yeah, it's probably about 12 pages, and it's. I don't know what his deadline was, but he clearly had a lot of time to work on this. Uh, Whereas when he became the ongoing cable artist, you can see a slow transition where he starts off just like the pages are as detailed as this, and
Mhm.
then he slowly has to like discover the how to pull off these monthly deadlines. Which in future episodes it'll be interesting because I would like to look at his entire cable run and sort of see that transition. And
Yeah.
then after that, he just never goes back. He doesn't like the monthly grind.
Who does?
Yeah, and after his cable run, like he's probably got like, man, you can count on one hand how many works he has.
Yeah.
Whereas that cable run, he did something like 15 to 20 issues, maybe not that much, but he did quite.
Yeah,
He was on cable for
48 to
like 2 years.
70, I think. It was like
Yes.
38 to 70 with obviously spot fill-ins, I think, throughout. But
Yeah, there
yeah,
was a fair amount of fill-ins. Yeah,
yeah.
That's still pretty, especially for the time when it was just like, get these X books out.
yeah, and make a living. Artists have to make a living, and it in order to make a living, to some extent, you have to be doing like several issues a year.
Yeah. I also really like the layouts, especially of these, of that right hand page, of just like 1, 3, like it just like growing in complexity
Mm.
Yeah,
out from that main, like just huge compared to a lot of the panels in here. It's quite a bit of real estate to use, and then but he's not afraid to then cram in 7 other panels.
yeah, and these pages are pretty dense, and there's just a lot of dialogue. What did you guys think of the story? I think you briefly mentioned Colin, like, because I was a little
Yeah,
baffled.
it's. I don't know if it's to be continued. Before we even started recording, I asked you guys. I'm like, is there a part 2 to this? Because I'm pretty sure Blade either died or it's just left up to you know.
Clearly, there was some sort of intentional decision to be ambiguous in some way, and I don't think it really works.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
put off by it a little.
yeah, the comic just sort of ends, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to make of this, honestly. I mean, I think the writer was going for something experimental, and it didn't really come together for me.
Yeah, it just kind of, yeah, yeah, it's like a cereal or something. Just anyway, next time, and they, I don't know, ran out of money, or how long did this? Is it a series? It is a mini series. How long did this
So
last?
this was one issue, and then a year later there was another Marvel Shadow and Light, and then that's it.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, it maybe he just really wanted to use this final line: "The night is over, the tomb is closed once more." Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and now that I'm thinking about it too, it's so if it comes out in '96, that's pretty far. That's still pretty far from the Blade movie, and the deal with, I believe it's Fox, is just atrocious for them at the time. So they're probably not. They're probably like, no,
Oh,
he's done.
that was New Line, I think.
New Line, there was yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's
It's
Warner
weird.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that they had like just atrocious deals with a
Oh yeah,
lot.
Well, they were post bankruptcy. They were just making terrible
Yeah.
deals to, get some money. And yeah, that Spider-Man deal is that with Sony was, and yeah, the Fox deal as well. The Fox deal was the worst, and
Yeah.
then the X-Men movie was successful, so they were able to get a better deal with Sony for Spider-Man. But that's just the domino effect of the bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not familiar with this artist, but we have some fantastic Michael Golden art at the back here,
Check
which
out
is
our Michael Golden episode where we take a look at the Nam.
and we have a covers episode as well. So
That's
we have
right.
yeah, this is interesting sort of late 90s Michael Golden, where his stuff is yeah, isn't as detailed as his other work, but still
Well,
fairly
this,
detailed. Yeah.
this one, I mean, not to keep making comparisons, but like even with this, I think maybe because they both worked on Doctor Strange, but I got a strong P. Craig Russell vibe from this one.
Yeah, I can see that.
A lot of open space, a lot of like a lot of small figures, a lot of silent moments, things like that.
And not particularly precious either. It feels
Yeah.
a lot less careful than his earlier work, but
Mm.
not in like a not in a sloppy way. Just in kind of I know what's here.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
telling stories. It's fine.
it feels to me like he's at his most knowledgeable at this point.
Yeah,
Like he knows exactly what he's doing
yeah,
and
yeah,
exactly how much detail is required and how much isn't.
yeah.
It's
Which, man, it'd be great to. It'd be great if you could just be taught that amount, but
that's something you got to learn from trial and error, I think.
the price
Or
must be paid.
Price must
yeah.
be paid.
So that came out in like December 1996, and what is the cover date on this one? This is June 1997, so came out like 3 months before that, I guess. This is interesting. What do you guys think of the amalgam books?
So, with the amalgam books, I wasn't really interested in the whole line, but I did pick up, some spot issues. I picked up Dark Claw. I picked up this one. Overall, though, I would say the Spider Boy team up issue was probably the best looking book of the whole line.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is
Little I've
this
seen.
book is gorgeous.
Yeah, and it honestly it feels when I was reading, I was like, this is why couldn't other Legion like the Legion stuff that I've read, which I'll admit is a small amount, but the Legion stuff that I've read, why can't it be like this? Like, why can't it be more like this, playing with time and the kind of fantastical nature of the future
Yeah.
and just living in a comic book universe.
I want to actually throw this in before we go any further because I kind of want to just drop this mind bomb to you guys. But the secondary influence I found for this one was Osamu Tezuka, specifically his Astro Boy stuff or his
Okay.
sci-fi.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, like going through this one, I mean, Eric, I know you haven't read much of his stuff, but I would say his stuff is very sparse and it's more about storytelling over spectacle. But you see that there's a lot of little gab moments here with Spider Boy, like a little bit of kind of like in a Looney Tunes way, like a little gag references here and there, where he's a bit perplexed and puzzled. You got a lot of that in Tezuka's sci-fi stuff too, especially Astro Boy.
Yeah, but are you talking about the writing or are you talking about the art?
The art.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I honestly I thought the writing, like again, like where this I'm going to critique the writing again, but this is so do you guys know who R.K. Sternzel is, the writer?
No.
It's an amalgam. It's an amalgam of Carl Kessel and Roger Stern.
Ah,
So they're
just
being
like
clever.
how Mark
Which
Grunwald and Mike Carlin were the editors, and I think it was M.M. Carlwald or something like that was the editor at the back in the soapbox.
Yeah, yeah, right there. Yeah, Carwald's corner box, and you can see right here, like they get the actual credit here by Carl. Now I'm confused. Kessel, Kiesel, and Roger Ramjet Stern. So
The story was very Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't bored. I didn't find anything wrong with it. There was a lot going on. Like, I read this one very slowly because the artwork is so good, just dissecting every panel and stuff. But overall, I was kind of charmed by it.
I think on a technical level, it's not good, and I think bad scripts can be just as instructive as good scripts. I think the lesson here for anyone watching is that a good story needs active characters. At least the main character
Mhm.
should be active, and yet you like your main character needs to be making decisions and those decisions reveal stuff about them. We should also know what the character wants so that the story is driven by what they want. And in this story, things just happen to Spider Boy. Every scene is a bunch of new characters popping up and telling him to go into the next scene. He barely makes any decisions himself, and there's no characterization to speak of unless you count like snappy banter as characterization.
They definitely do it in this book, though, right? And this line, like, Amalgam is not hanging around, right? This is a publishing stunt.
Yeah, and
100%.
I think the main goal of the writers was to introduce these melded characters. Like
Yeah.
it seems like there was a sort of this is wave two of Amalgam, and there was probably like some checklist of all the characters that they hadn't used before, which I guess most of them were Legion of Superheroes, but then you have the leftover Marvel characters, and this is just like being clever with all the merging that they can do. So it's sort of like a
Yeah,
fun showing off of Marvel and DC continuity, but it's not a good
yeah.
story.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the reference to like merging Black Racer and Silver Surfer together is like Kirby
Very
fans
obvious.
know. It's like, yeah, okay.
But
It
this
well,
this page was like it seems like it was just saying go read Challenges of the Fantastic because you could take this entire page out and you know
Yeah,
oh
you'd be
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
fine.
But
Tezuka would do stuff like this. So that's kind of what I was referencing earlier.
Sorry, what would Tezuka do?
These like the Silver Racer bonking into Octavius there, like that whole bottom half of the page.
okay.
Yeah,
It also really laid bare for me. Boy, the Silver Surfer. What a great fucking concept.
yeah.
You're not touching that. You can't outdo it, Kirby. Unfortunately, you just couldn't.
Well, with Black Racer, remember the tagline? Don't let them touch you.
Yeah.
It's just it just doesn't work. And melding the two together, I was like, ooh, that stands out as like good versus bad being just ugh, this isn't working at all. Um,
Yeah, I mean it you kind of had to merge the two. So
yeah,
I mean I don't fault that at all. It's just like that's one of those things that like if you're going to have an amalgam universe like the concept of merging Marvel and DC characters like of course you're going to merge Silver Surfer and the Black Racer.
Yeah.
yeah. This feels more like they were trying to introduce. I don't even know what they're called. Legion. What do they even call themselves?
The Legion of
Uh,
Superheroes.
Legion of Galactic Guardians, 2099.
And yeah, you get some fun stuff like Miguel O'Hara becomes Mig L, like
Yeah,
Cal L plus. So yeah,
it's fan service
I
the book. Is what it
I'm
is.
critiquing the script on a technical level, but I guess it's just a fun exercise. Like let's just
Yeah,
play with
yeah.
continuity and
Like,
you know. But I mean, the Spider Boy character is like he doesn't do anything. I mean, he does stuff. People keep telling him go over here, and then he goes over there, and then people tell him go over
yeah,
there,
because
and
when you brought that up, it made me think of like a common critique of Raiders of the Lost Ark is that like you could just lift Indiana Jones out of this story and things actually turn out better overall, right? But the thing is it's like, well, but no character knows that, and he is propelled by other events. But you're right, like he just kind of it's not like, "Oh, I've been pulled into the future," and he has no real goal other than not be in the future, I
Yeah,
guess.
he's just and the characters are constantly telling him about himself, like he's inspiring, and we don't really see him do anything really inspiring. I guess he sort of saves the day in the end, or saves his own life.
Saves his
I don't know.
own. Yeah, it's just
Um,
like this recursive loop. So it's more of a writing exercise in terms of structure rather than character.
yeah, I mean, just using the time travel stuff. Like, I don't know. Yeah, the art sure is pretty though. So we're here
Yeah,
to talk about the art.
we're
Um,
talking we're talking about the story, but I really didn't feel any certain way while reading it because I was into it. I was just kept going and going. I didn't even think about character development or anything. I'm like, oh, that's a really nicely designed panel, and oh, that's a really great page, and then kept going. Like I never gave much thought to this story anyway because it's just a one off
Yeah,
book that doesn't really mean
yeah.
anything,
You
right?
don't gotta you don't gotta think about it too much.
Yeah.
Man, I love how he's put so much care into the design of his tread. Yeah, very cool. And the whole this whole comic is like an exercise in like cool design. Like one of my favorite things about Jose Ladrönn is how he draws a busy, messy city. And like, I mean, this is like a mic drop
Well,
splash page right here.
hear me out. Okay. If you compare this first page to the first page of the Inkle, do you see it or not?
The first page of the ankle.
Do you see it or not? It might be a reach, but it might be two opposing angles. So this one's more worm's eye, whereas page one of the Inkle is more bird's eye.
Page
While
one.
while you flip to that, I just want to oh yeah. Okay. I kind of see that.
Well, yeah, and that's something I was going to bring up is the Moebius influence because he speaks about the Long Tomorrow being a big influence of his, and I think something you can say about Moebius is that his cities feel very alive, which like you're right about that first page of the Inkle, and that is a crossover element that Jose Ladrönn and Moebius have. Is just like a very lively city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Overpopulated. It's pretty much standing room only in some parts, but then you get a lot of sparse areas too that are just completely abandoned in some cases.
Yeah, I
And
like
just
the
a lot
alley
of
that he falls into later. Like right after that, on the second page, there's nobody else in it, but there's signs of activity having been there. Like there's an old busted street sign, and there's brick missing, there's plaster missing, there's all kinds of shit piled up. Like people have been through this alley. There's still
Yeah,
signs of life despite it being just
yeah,
him.
yeah, and just like it's so like he's commented on the waste management company. He's got like labels on all the bottles, and like I guess these are uh, cereal boxes, and like yeah, he's just put so much. Like sometimes when we talk about detail, we're talking about the amount of lines on a page, but he's very detailed in like his thinking about this city and his thinking about like just what would be in an alleyway. And I just love the amount of cables that are all over the place.
mm,
And just to speak of his attention to detail, um, so I brought this up earlier. This Unhuman book that he did with so he worked on Elephant Men with Richard Starkings, and Richard Starkings describes like the first year of them working on that story as being sort of like production design. So this entire book is him just sort of like designing the world and figuring the characters out and coming up with so many different designs for the character to get it right, and just like, oh, this is going to be what the tattoo is. And some of this is a little baffling, the amount of detail that he goes into. There's one specific, yeah, right here. So right here, this is his thumbnail of this city, and he just puts so much into this. And we have like a poster here, and he puts so much into designing this poster. All the
wow.
text, all the this is shrunken down into that. And this is shrunk down into that. He's got all the text. And then in the final piece, there's the poster. And that's just his attention to detail is like, you can barely see
that's almost crippling in its design fastidiousness. Like, you could have just put nothing there. It would have been fine.
Yeah, and we probably wouldn't have noticed, but that speaks to who he is as an artist. Is he wants to fully realize everything, and then he's put so much thought into the 2 or 3 posters that Hip Flask is walking past. Like, it's and like,
the thing is, though, as I think on this, like, there's a lot of I've spoken briefly on this about I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. The whole basis of that universe is the made-up languages of J.R.R. Tolkien that you'll never read, you'll never find out about, but that inform like the underlying structure of how he tells a story and like words to use and how they inspire characters and stuff. And I wonder if it's something like that. Like,
he doesn't like know, it is important.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't know he's going to take, what was it, 25 years for this story to come out?
Yeah.
He doesn't know that that's how long it's going to take out at the time. Maybe he's thinking like, well, yeah, these guys are going to come back up and I want you to be able to go back to that first issue and see Hip Flask walking by their poster.
Yeah, I think most creative, brilliant minds involve like a mild dose of neurosis too. You know, and that's not a knock. But there's something you're trying to communicate and you're trying to work it out for yourself before you actually put it out there in the world. And a lot of that won't end up on the page, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know it. So
that's why
it makes sense to you, so you can tell that story better.
That's why I eat that back matter stuff up. I love art books. I love books that go into the making of, stuff like that. I eat that shit up. So
there's just so much behind the scenes work behind all of our favorite comics that like we'll never know about. And this is the sign of a true visionary, is someone who has thought about all this stuff that we can read this comic and not know all the prep he did. And this comic came out 6 months after that last comic. So I don't know how long this issue took, but it clearly took him a long time. Like, it is like, just look at this foreground element right here. This is just a foreground element there to create depth, but he's just put so much thought into the rooftop structure.
Well, I wonder how much he had to design the literal amalgamation of these characters, right? Like, it's easy to say Black Gracer and Silver Surfer.
Yeah, and I think that this was part of another story, like because it says here, like, to get the full story, check out Challengers of the Fantastic. So whoever drew that one was probably the one who designed that. I think he had this task of drawing all these characters. Like, the writers just list like, oh, it's a mix of multiple men and whoever that made Legion of Superheroes character is, and then there's like
Bouncing
I think
ball.
There's like
Phantom Cat.
22 characters.
And then he does it again later on in the story.
Yeah, he does it twice.
Twice.
And there's a little gag about how like that was 22 characters, and so this is 17 characters, and what does he say? Oh, well, at least there are fewer of these guys to keep track of in the future. I wonder if Ladrönn was thinking the same thing. Well, at least there's fewer on this one.
Again, Tezuka did a lot of stuff like that too. Like little gags where like continuity errors were being accounted for by Tezuka himself, like stepping into the panel and being like, well, actually it's like this, or I know that I miscounted earlier, but now this is the real number, just little gags like that. Little inside jokes with the reader,
Yeah. And Tezuka's a cartoonist, so he was like writing and drawing all that stuff. Whereas this is Ladrönn basically working with a script, which I think in an interview he just described it as a silly story.
Yeah, because it is. You don't have to be more than that.
Do you guys know what this blue thing is on the top of comics?
I have always assumed that it's a test for the cyan print plate.
Yeah, I did a Google search to find out, and I found a Reddit thread where somebody suspected that was it, but somebody else came out and basically said that it was for not retailers, but like the convenience stores or the news agents that
Okay.
ordered the newsstand copies, and the newsstand copies were returnable, and so the distributor would basically say like, oh, okay, right now you can send back all the blue books, and
Oh,
right now you can send back all the red books, and so it was just a quicker way to like you can look at the top and go, okay, this is a blue book, and then
So they tore the cover off and sent them back.
yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So this is interesting because he had to draw this scene two times, like I guess two different timelines, and like one looks like very impressive future tech, and then we go here to the next version, and it's just like oh wow, that like he hadn't even started yet. Like it got way more impressive in
Yeah, he
20.
just kind of adds more to it. And this second version is actually what I think of when I think of his tech and his expansive,
Yeah.
I don't know, just the fullness of his sets.
And I guess he's got those like part of his trademark is just these wires and cables and pipes just all over the place. Which,
With like joints, right? Like
yeah,
it's not just lines, it's like anyway, I've drawn this casing that connects two different pipes and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, I want my cities and tech to look like this. Like going forward, but I look at this and say like I'm not even trying. I need to try harder. And like also, it just looks so cool. I love
Yeah.
it so much.
Yeah. I was just going to say that last figure, the pointing figure pointing outside the panel borders is pure Kirby, pure
Oh
brilliance.
yeah.
It sure is.
Like
Love
Kirby's
that.
got these like flat fingers. That's
Yeah.
this is interesting because this is 1997, so I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. I do know that like you flash forward several years, and he's using 3D technology to design a lot of his sets.
Hmm.
Let's find an example here, and I don't know what computer program he was using. Uh, yeah, so this he was using in the early 2000s, and so I guess he would create these very detailed sets. I guess he would start off with a sketch, then create the sets, and it would end up like that.
You used to do shit like this, didn't you, Eric?
I did, yeah. I would not go as detailed as this. I was just trying to get like although this isn't a crazy amount of detail. Like I would get boxes and stuff. And I just wanted the grids to go off of. And it's especially useful when you have like spheres and stuff. And that's why I
Hmm.
look at this and like yes, you can do that like without 3D technology. It's just a lot easier when you do have 3D technology. And he eventually, at like this is 1997, and I think 5 or 6 years after this was when he was doing those examples that I was showing. But yeah, I'm not sure when he started, but I could believe that this was aided by 3D technology. But I don't
Mm.
know. How good was the processing power for a home computer in
That's the
1997?
thing, right?
Weren't
Is
they
that
using like Corel Draw or something back then?
like
One of
if you
those
had a
more.
Well,
powerful
that wasn't 3D technology. Corel
like
Draw.
I've seen computers from the 60s do there's footage of computers from the 60s doing what is essentially what we would recognize as Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. It's just that it's black and green and slow as shit, but it can still like that basic technology of vector rendering is still possible. I would suspect though that this is more of circle templates and ellipse templates that are
Yeah.
kind of dictating to him the angle that he has to draw at. And the thing about the model software is now he gets to dictate the exact angles that he's working at? Like the camera angle.
Yeah, and it's funny, like it's probably quicker to do this than to model an entire building and
But less
then
control.
yeah. And I think that's a big thing is he has like years later after he leaves Marvel, like he has difficulty letting go of the pages.
Mm-hmm.
I think like yeah, in that interview earlier in 2025, um, yeah, he does tell some stories about like how the editors have to like basically have to like take it from him, and he just does not want to give it up. He wants a little bit more time, a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And he's a perfectionist artist, and we get beautiful, beautiful work out of him.
Well, you're
as a
closing
result.
in on that pinup at the end there, one of the greatest comic book illustrators of all time. So right there.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
It's
Um,
so complete. I love the completeness of it. And
Yeah.
it evokes so much. Like yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I do think he was like the perfect artist for this comic, just because they were asking so much of him with this, and he's up for the task. Like you ask him to draw like a 22 or 17 like figures like this. Like he's undoubtedly a hard worker and out to prove himself at this point, especially, and he just wants to do a great job. And yeah, I really wonder how long it took him to draw this issue. I would love if anybody watching this knows how to contact Jose Ladrönn. I would love to take all these comics, his entire career of comics, like everything, and like do an expansive interview with him where we go through everything and just like pick his brain.
That would be a dream for sure.
Yeah. Because like
Oh,
yeah, I have so many questions about his process, and like as anybody watching this can see, yeah, like I love the creativity of the lightning bolts just like jutting out of his head. Like this is it that was not scripted or anything. It's just sort of like these little details that he puts in everything is it. Uh, I just love his art so much. Reading this comic made me so happy because and I was just telling myself like, can I be more like this? Can I take some of this stuff and put it into my work? Because yeah, it just like it just looks so cool. Like every object that he draws is just like just really cool to look at.
Happy is right though. I mean, like the biggest my final thought on this would be for $2. What was this? $2.50, $3 for this book. It was jam packed. You didn't read it in 5 minutes. This one took you actually some time. Like every page is
Yeah.
just packed full of action, story, dialogue, all that sort of stuff. Like this one, this was can't lose comics. I've said that before. It's like can't lose comics. Where for $3, this is the book of the month. This is probably the book of the year. This was the best bang for your buck.
Oh man, just like everywhere, you get these cool effects. Every other page is like what like he's a visionary. Like he just came up with this sort of like as Spider Boy is going between realities, it has this like liquid transition.
Yeah.
Then when he's being ripped apart, like this effect is really cool.
Yeah.
There's just so much here. This comic is going to be at my drawing table for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Just to pick up for inspiration or whatever. Actually, was this supposed to be Nixon right here?
This is a reference to, I believe this is a reference to, it is Nixon, and I think it's a reference to the Secret Empire storyline of the Cap, I can't remember if it's Grunwald or something, but it's revealed that the president, who was clearly modeled after Nixon, was also...
And that president was shown in like shadow, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was shadow, but if it was like, that is very obviously the shape of Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Marvel does operate in the so-called real world, whereas DC has made up names for their politicians, right?
Yeah. Well, and it was just after Watergate, or it was like in the midst of it, or a reaction to it, or of some kind, and it was it was really trying to hit on, we've all lost faith in the government, right? Whereas by 1997, it feels like most people are like, yeah, they're all crooks and pervs and absolute bastards. So I guess, like, yeah, sure, it's Nixon. He wasn't that bad though, was he?
Yeah, like yeah, my mother was a saint was the giveaway because that's like a Nixon line, and well, and that's another thing which segues into the next book is that like I guess he was tasked with drawing a likeness. Like how difficult is that? Draw like Kirby, but also draw a likeness, which we get right here. Like that is so clearly Stan Lee,
Yeah.
and that is so clearly a Kirby style. So I mean that's just so impressive. That's
Yeah.
not easy to do.
All right. Now I want to again drop a mind bomb before we get into this one. The secondary influence I found in this one, Miyazaki.
Miyazaki. So this is this is July 1997. So how many Miyazaki movies are out at that point? Like 3 or 4? I guess I recall 1997 Mononoke had just come out in the US, I think. If
Was
I'm
that
not
97?
mistaken. I believe so.
Mm.
But yeah, what makes you say that though? What's
Yeah.
To page 3.
Show your work.
So if you've seen Ponyo or Spirited Away or any movies that have to do with
all movies that came out after this, but yeah.
I'm just okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. That's
Okay.
what kind of came to me as I was reading this, especially just the backgrounds, the figure work, the faces. Yeah, it just kind of
There's kind of a, I think I see what you mean.
More than
There's
kind
kind
of,
of a what's Nausicaa vibe, especially to that third page.
To the third page.
where they're both-
Yeah.
Like
I
her in
found
the
that
way-
like Miyazaki
Nausicaa
innocence.
on her glider thing.
Yeah,
It
actually,
has
that's
that
a good
kind of
point. I
feel.
can kind of see that.
But that's all that hits for me. But I've only seen a few Miyazaki movies.
What? Which ones?
Nausicaa, Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, Mononoke.
Oh,
Boy
you've
and the
seen like
Heron.
half of them. Geez, so you're just listing.
Aren't there? But like
Only
I'm
a
just
few?
like Kiki's
The whole
Delivery
catalog.
Service and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen about as much as you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes people are like, "Oh, you got to see them all. You have to have all of them in your face." Like I've never seen Porco Rosso, for instance. You know?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. So I found this interview. It's like a Blogspot interview, which was very handy because there's just so little information out there. He hasn't done a lot of interviews, so
It's an Italian site too. Just
actually, I'm not sure.
Sardinian connection, and then the Scuola di Fumetto ad there.
Scuola di Fumetto.
Exactly.
So, yeah, right here he said, my style has always been more European, but when I started to work for Marvel, I had to adapt it to something more commercial. It had to be in a language which could be easier to understand for US readers, and I thought immediately about the books I used to read when I was a child. Commandy, The Demon, Mr. Miracle, The Fantastic Four, all works by Jack Kirby. Yeah, when the time allowed me, I put a lot of detail on my pages, but a monthly book is an insane way of working. I think Jack Kirby is one of the greatest artists. And down here, one of the most important things I learned is the way he used to add such great energy to every page and how to place elements in order to achieve an efficient artistic composition. So yeah, the monthly deadline was an issue for him.
Which is funny because that's really the driving force for Kirby, right?
Yeah,
his whole thing is just like I got a family to feed, I got a mortgage to pay, I got to crank this out. So he's like, "Yep, I'll be on 4 books. I can produce 8 pages a day. I don't give a shit. Let's go."
That is an interesting point because the family to feed element, because that sort of was his driving inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And from listening to this interview and reading this stuff with Ladrönn, like, he just really wants to create good, lasting work, and that, I think, drives him more so than needing to make money. So that is a big distinction between the two, and he does. So in that audio interview earlier this year that I listened to, he does place a lot of import in creating work that will be lasting and will be remembered, and that's why he just spends so much time on his current work. Why it took him like 25 years to do those that 4-issue series, and why he's in the past like 20 years, I guess, or 15-20 years, he's only really done Final Inkle and Sons of El Topo, and just a whole bunch of covers.
Yeah, but like it's also an attitude towards stuff, right? Like when Kirby is creating, it's the idea that's important. Maybe an issue doesn't hit like he would have wanted, but it's out. It's propelling it forward. It's like a friend of the show, Michelle Fife, wrote about in Copra, breaking that Kirby barrier, right? Don't be too precious. Keep going. Move forward. Which is, I don't know. That's like, I love that idea, but I can also understand if you're not built in that kind of, in a Kirby-esque way, this Ladrönn attitude is also viable, right? Like,
Well,
no, I'm going to die one day, but this is going to survive. This is going to be going forward.
if the neurosis is strong within you, you may never get there. Whereas with Kirby, I don't think there was any neurosis. Would you say?
No, I don't think so. We're talking about a guy who fist fought Nazis on the streets of New York, right? And then went to go kill them on a different continent. He doesn't give a shit about neuroses. Yeah. Even if he does have them, he's not paying attention.
Actually, let's go back to that. I do have one more quote on here. To speak about deadlines, he said, "When I started to work at Marvel, I saw the deadlines as a big issue. You feel that there is no time to work out the detail. For that reason, I prefer to stay on the side, not drawing comic books for the mainstream. Not only because I don't want to compromise my style again, but my health."
Yeah. Which is something, we all need to think about. Don't run yourself into the ground just to produce stuff. You produce better work when you're healthy. In fact, if anybody needs any kind of look into and or training, make sure to hit up our boy Colin, because he's our personal trainer, and he's hammering the both of us all the time to stay healthy.
Yeah, especially if you're an artist watching this, like, it is so important to take care of your health. Yeah. And Colin can specialize it towards that, I think, right?
You sure can.
100%. Yeah, I would. And your first hour consultation is free with me. So hit me up through Instagram, send me a DM, and we'll take it from there.
Right on.
So I also wanted to comment, like, there's this Internet Archive site which has old Wizard magazines. So, and this was 1998, right around the time he was doing. He did this Cable -1, and they had this feature where they looked at 8 creators to keep your eye on. So Dave Finch, Bat, Lionel Francis Yu, Leonard Manco, Ed McGuinness, Salvador LaRocca, John Cassaday, and here we have José Ladrönn.
Wow.
So it was just a very quick interview. Whoops, I'm jumping ahead here. And yeah, he just speaks of, he says, Jack Kirby for me was the best superhero artist. He says also Moebius. With Moebius, I like the simple way he gave ideas in the drawings. It's more casual, more simple. So
yeah, it's elemental, right, for both of them.
Yeah, and I mean it's clearly in this work right here, like Man, look at that hand. Has there ever been a more Kirby-like hand than this?
Yeah, I mean, outside of Kirby, no.
Outside of Kirby?
Those fingers don't make sense, right? Like that pinky's way too long, but it doesn't matter.
Let me just try and find an example. Like look at that hand.
Yeah.
And he did this thing where like the fingernails were way too big, I think, and you can see that in Ladrön's work here as well. Like these hands are
There we go.
like
Yeah.
very
Clear graphic communication, especially with like the masculine hands or the feminine hands or even faces, feet, boots, that sort of thing. He really went in like to the wall with hammering it home that this is very, say, a masculine superhero or a very dark villain, menacing, that sort of thing.
Yeah, clear graphic communication. That's a great term for it. Yeah.
So this is the 90s, and so you have to have these like big 90s guns, and it's like a big 90s gun by way of Kirby, because like there are principles of Kirby tech, which are all on display here.
Yeah.
And
the circles, not as many zigzags as I would have expected.
Although we get zigzags here, which
for
is
like
just
no
like
reason, right?
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Is just like it's there's no technical reason for that to be there for the boat to work properly, but it just looks really cool, and that's the point, right? And it is kind of funny that this is a -1 issue, which for this month, Marvel Comics did all -1 issues, and this is supposed to take place in the past, and so it evokes Kirby, but also Kirby tech, because Kirby had like 1960s future tech in all his comics, right?
I think, yeah, and I think there's a good chance that second panel there was probably from a photograph of the boat and the water speeding through, and the wave lines.
Yeah, maybe he used photo reference. Yeah.
Really beautiful though.
Yeah, that'd be another thing to ask him, is just like how much is he taking from photo reference? How lost in the photo reference hole does he get? And I should say that like this -1 issue, it looks to me like it took him a while to do, like maybe more than 4 weeks. Because as you go further into his Cable run, like he was on Cable for 2 years or so, it does not look like this stuff. It does not look as labored over as this stuff. Yeah,
this too? No.
Sorry.
Did Juan Velasco ink this too?
Yes. Yeah, I think Juan Velasco.
He's like his day one, kind of like his Scott Williams, eh?
Yeah, and I'll just show so this is like a couple years later. This is 1998, and it's still very detailed, but
what number is that?
What number is this? This is issue 60.
So
it's still very detailed, but not as labored over. Like, yeah. Again, like this is I don't know how much more to say, but just it's not labored over.
Yeah, Taylor, you may not remember any of this, but Eric, do you remember the controversy over the corner box on the cover? The corner box, where how he's holding that rifle and
oh no,
red, and the top of it, the muzzle is red. with 2 hands. Come on.
What?
Hey, come on.
I mean, I know where you're going.
Yeah. I don't remember who pointed it out, but as soon as I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And they did end up changing it later on too.
Check out my techno-organic dick.
Yeah, they changed it in the 50s or the 60s.
How would that even happen? Right? Like that's.
I think. Well, I mean, maybe he's an undercover troll. He's playing the long game waiting for people to find out.
I don't think that was on purpose.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't know the guy, but it doesn't strike me as he cares about the work.
Yeah, but Wally Wood, you know how he was progressively drawing Power Girl's boobs bigger and bigger until someone pointed it out. But I would say though, for me, Cable is like another badass corporate character, like Wolverine or Punisher or even Batman, where he's been wildly successful enough to have a design and has been interpreted by a lot of different artists, a lot of my favorite artists. And I've loved like consuming all the variations of it, everything from like Bruce Timm Batman to Frank Miller Batman, right? And in terms of like who draws the best list for me? I think John Romita Jr. is number one for Cable, but I do love Ladrön's interpretation too in the monthly series.
You guys both read the Cable series that this is the -1 of?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a question about the arm because in this, it's back in the past. He's evoking Kirby, not just in his style but also the design sense. Is that the same arm that you see on?
Eric, can you skip ahead a couple
Yeah,
pages?
it's like
Go,
the
last
Devil's Herald
page.
page because it's a lot
Uh,
more robotic
yeah,
than.
no, that's more his version of the arm.
Okay, so
Like
that's consistent.
these little handle things aren't normally on there.
Mm.
But he's a
Like
visionary, and he wanted to
like the
draw it his
ports
own
and stuff.
way.
Because when I think of Cable's techno organic arm, I think of essentially just like Colossus. Like it's silver and it's ribbed, but there's not much other else tech wise
Yeah,
going on.
it was like in terms of the evolution of the arm, it was interpreted that way with Liefeld in the early years, and then later on, it became more of like the actual musculature. Every strand of muscle was
Right.
ribbed, which was really awesome. I think Michael Ryan, who I think took over Cable after Ladrönn, he drew a really awesome arm on Cable, like the techno arm.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it really is. It's one of those things up to artistic interpretation. The same way you draw Wolverine's claws, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So this is his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's Ladron's version of it. So here we have Richard Starkings of Quillcraft.
Hmm.
So it's playing off the -1 Comic Craft. He's Jose Ladrönn sparks up a relationship with Richard Starkings, and this font is sort of your regular comic font, but uh, Richard Starkings ends up designing a font specifically of Ladrön's writing
Huh.
for future issues of Cable. And that sort of endeared Ladrönn to him. And as a gift, Ladrönn gave him an illustration of Richard Starking's Hip Flask character, and then that like was the domino effect that led to the two of them working together. So let me find an issue because this early issue does not use that font, but yeah, I think again they like wanted to give a sort of more European flavor to the entire thing. But yeah, unique European lettering style.
Yeah,
So
it does. It is weirdly.
so this is not that style, but I think
No, but like those.
yeah.
The
So this is Ladrön's. This is the Ladrönn font right here, which
hmm.
I guess has more European flavor than say this one. Although I don't know how you would quantify that. I guess I mean it's just Ladrön's font, so it's more it these later issues just become more and more Ladrönn because now even the text is by him.
It just looks sharper somehow.
Yeah, man, there are so many ads.
Yeah, how else are you going to pay for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets real Kirby as he goes.
When he gets to Cable, though, I did notice that he drops to 5 to 6 panel pages rather than 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah, it's like 3 to 6, or
I mean,
sometimes
part of
less.
that might have been to keep up with the monthly schedule, of course,
Yeah.
but
Well,
like I think overall as well, like just the story, the writing as well was probably geared towards that too.
and I think James Robinson is known for being very artist friendly, so he knows these artists are on tight deadlines, and so don't cram too much in there, which is what we commented on here. Like there's a lot going on in these pages, whereas yeah, like as you said, we get 3 panel pages. We get uh, you know, James Robinson gives him a
Oh,
chance
I was waiting for you
to
to come to this part.
do something
That
like
is
this.
beautiful.
And I do want to also comment on the writing, because like for all of the critiques I had on a technical level of the Spider-Boy comic, uh, this comic check marks all those boxes. We'll come back to this page, but like Moira is arguably the main character of this, and I was speaking about characters making choices and their decisions driving the plot, and right here, Moira makes the decision to stand up to an angry mob, and that reveals character. She's basically like the mob is basically think thinks Cable, or this like creature who's speaking some sort of weird language, is clearly a demon. Moira doesn't know, but she's giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying, this man is a visitor, he's our guest, show some hospitality, he could be a good person. She's making a decision to stand up to people, and it's revealing the kind of person she is.
Yeah.
And then that drives the plot forward, because Cable realizes she's an ally, and then uses his psychic powers to get rid of them, and then goes along with her. So again, speaking of writing on a technical perspective, this is much better in my mind than the previous examples.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the sort of Robinson also he's a real character based writer, right? He's not. It feels always like he is allowing. He takes the view that if you create a character complex enough, they'll kind of drive the story. They'll unspool it for you.
Yeah.
Like he wrote 70 issues, 75, somewhere in there, of Star Knight, or damn it, not Starman, Jack Knight, Starman, and it goes wild places, but it all makes sense just because of how he sets that character up in the first opening arc.
Mm.
Yeah.
You should have expounded on it before, but like the Miyazaki influence, I do see it in the faces, but mostly the hair. Like if you look at Moira's
Yeah,
hair, if you look at Cable's hair, and just the aesthetic of those characters against the realistic backdrop, like you see on that the right page there, like it just, I
Yeah.
just got the vibes. The vibes started, coming to me as I was reading this.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
vibe.
It's
Yeah,
You guys can see it. I'm not
I
crazy.
can. Yeah. As we go, I can
yeah.
definitely
I do see a little bit of what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's also like he's dropping a lot of detail in the figures, right? He's not putting as much wrinkle detail or textural detail.
But there's still so much life in it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still believable. They're still movable. They can interact with each other. Like it still works.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
with when you say the hair, like I can definitely picture it does call to mind um you know, Mononoke in Mononoke, the main character just like gazing off grimly into the distance, and her hair just kind of shifting in the wind.
Yeah.
Right.
I do like how he's got very like straight hair, and then you got these squiggles coming out,
Yeah,
these strands.
Right.
Um, I don't know. It gives the impression that he's either stressed, or he just like came from a journey of some kind.
he's pretty frazzled through time.
Yeah. Uh, and for me, like again, like one of my favorite things is his tech, and so like all throughout this is just like such cool tech stuff. Like even the plug on the bottom here is just like weird and futuristic and outrageous and just creative. And you can find that all throughout, just like in this boat. There's all these like little details throughout, and yeah, I the the world building too. Like he just adds this little stone figure into this fountain, which is very very cool looking. Like he's I think he's a visionary, and he's just like going to town, just like adding all these little details that I love so much. Now this scene, which was a big mic drop moment, is
Yeah.
just amazing. And this reminds me of the Kirby Tales of Asgard stuff.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
just get this vibe off this, which let me
It's
see.
it's that and the opening pages of his Fourth World stuff for me.
The opening pages where like
Yeah,
You guys number one.
yeah. I think it's that one where it's like the old gods died and the new
Yeah,
gods
you guys
rose.
number one.
Yeah,
Eric, you got that?
yep, right here. Yeah.
There you go.
yeah. This sort of thing.
Yeah, which
Look, I
again like
love
he's
comics, you guys. I love comics.
Me too, man.
Take
They're
away
great.
TV, take away movies, take away video games. Just leave me with my books.
Yeah, so you get these like charging Asgardians right here, which it just seems like a clear influence here as you get Cable charging into battle with his crew in the future. And a lot of Kirby energy with this, where this is some like giant skeleton that they're fighting on top of.
Yeah,
I
just
love the
that's
depth.
where they happen to be fighting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
it's very Kirby.
post-apocalyptic, scorched earth style. Yeah, love that.
And the depth he creates with these like foreground spears.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so well done. This is such a cool
Well,
comic.
actually, so something I noticed was if you go from the foreground, so all the spears are going diagonally to the upper right, then just mid ground, the skeleton, the ribs are kind of going all over the place, and then if you go even further back, the flames are just everywhere, right? Like the directionality of
Yeah,
it, if you go further and further in, it's more and more chaotic.
it just looks
That's
like
a
they're
good
in hell.
observation. Yeah, it just devolves the farther you go back. Good call.
And this is great because we get what is Colin's favorite thing to bring up here?
Size relationships.
Yeah, we
Hey,
get like
when we go into Joe Kubert, there's a shitload of size relationships examples I'm going to be bringing up.
yeah. Yeah, I mean just which we didn't see much in the early I when I saw this you get a real sense of how small Moira is and like things were a little too they were a little too you didn't really get a sense of how close they were to each other. So
No, but you do get the
um,
size relationship between Moira and R-
Ron.
Ron.
yeah,
Rain,
yeah, that's right.
Ron, man.
Her ward, who's Wolfsbane.
Yeah,
Yeah, that splash page has a pretty good scale, though, with Cable against the bystanders there, the
Oh yeah,
riders. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because he's quite folded up.
yeah,
Although the perspective is on the ground there, so
yeah. But if
that's
he
that's
stood
never a good
upright,
way
he'd
to.
be head and shoulders taller than everybody there.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably why he's folded up like that. He's all hunched over because I think he would actually go outside of that frame.
And to make room for that word balloon, too.
Yeah.
now, this is something else I love about the writing is like these there's a twist at the end because like the mob basically is calling him the Devil's Herald, and then at the very end it turns out that Cable coming back in time does actually wake up Apocalypse, and so the irony is that the mob was right. He actually was indeed the Devil's Herald. So that's yeah, it's just very well written, I think.
And actually, if you can go back to Apocalypse's Awakening, that one single page, there's a really terrifying interpretation of
Yeah.
Apocalypse there. If it were created by Jack Kirby, if he was
Is
created by Jack Kirby, like that would be terrifying to
yeah. He's a way less put together, I guess. Like
well,
he's just. It's
modern
almost like
interpretations. He's big, jacked, and he's kind of more of like a superhero look almost with a barrel chest and all that sort of thing. Here, he looks a lot more lizard alien kind of.
yeah,
Yeah, that
You know?
mouth is just freaky.
Yeah.
yeah. Like he could just bite your head off, right? Just based on his size, it's like, oh God, this thing is. He should not be. He's just so large and grotesque.
Huh.
Like something
Now,
out of Frank Herbert.
I'm just noticing this now. I didn't notice it before, but this does look like a 3D sphere that was put on top.
It sure does.
Hmm.
Huh. I wonder if he did have access to 3D technology, just some sort of thing, on his home computer in 1997. That's wild. And
Yeah, they're
Well, he did live in California. He didn't live in Silicon Valley, but he did live in California.
I'm not sure when he moved to California because I think it was Richard Starkings that gave him the visa that allowed him to move, just through his company, Comicraft. And I'm not sure when that was. This might have been too early because I think this is one of the first. This was, I guess, Richard Starkings worked on all three of these comics, but that was early on in their relationship. They probably didn't even know each other at this point, but I'm not sure. He might have been staying in America for a bit. I know he didn't really get his visa until Richard Starkings allowed it, but or facilitated it.
kind of it looks almost too smooth. Like I'm looking at, I just
Yeah,
did a
it's very
quick
perfect.
I just did a quick lookup of 3D modeling in the 90s, and it's all very polygon based, right? Like they can't quite produce roundness. They can produce the illusion of it. So I'm not sure
Yeah, maybe
it would be
he's just
possible.
that good of an illustrator, and it's we're just impressed by a really good
Yeah.
illustration. Maybe it's not a 3D model. The point is that he did at some point start using 3D models, so that's where it creates the question, right?
Hmm.
Of like, at what point did he start dabbling, even? And also, how did he learn? What? Yeah, I just have so many questions. I
Well, I
should
mean,
probably reach out and ask him if he's
Although
open to an interview.
he does have animation experience. I wonder
uh,
if he's just
he
kept up with that.
he did meet Jodorowsky in California back in 2000. So we can safely, I would reasonably assume that pre 2000 he did move to California around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know, but
So I have a quote about art school. He said, "I studied graphic and technical design, but I learned to draw and paint on my own. Schools don't teach many things, so you need to have some skills and a lot of patience to learn to do those things the way you want."
ain't that the truth?
So yeah, what did you guys think of this sequence here? This is gives big Akira vibes, right? You've got
Oh,
these
yeah.
veiny
Oh, yeah.
cables digging
Yeah, just
into the
busting
concrete
each other.
there, or
Yeah.
maybe that's not concrete, but
It's
Well, even
something.
the smoke billowing is almost like, well, any explosion that Otomo drew in Akira as well, right?
yeah, it's
It lends itself to it.
very cool looking.
Yeah.
The real shift in the style though too, right? Is it's quite a Kirby designed arm until this, and then it starts peeling back to show more of, well, like, yeah, Akira Tetsuo's arm mutating and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and like in a lot of ways, it's like it's a little unfair to always talk about his influences because he is purely his own artist in so many ways, and we talk about Kirby a lot because on the surface level, it's very clearly influenced by Kirby, but he had so many influences. Like, yeah, he was influenced by Otomo and a lot of European artists. Yeah, he even talks about like being into John Singer Sargent's work. He loved John Singer Sargent's black and white work specifically.
Mm.
Yeah, he loved Buscema, Ramita, Don Heck. Like when he was growing up in Mexico, he got a lot of those. He got a lot of translated early Marvel comics, and that basically taught him what comics should look like, I think.
yeah.
But his favorite stuff was the European stuff. His favorite stuff was the Inkle. But this is crazy. This is clearly like this reeks of Moebius, but it's also just like that's him. His whole thing is like crazy tech like this. This is a purely Ladrönn panel right here.
Yeah, it's the impossible super machinery of comics, right? Like just kind of taken to almost a jungle like design, I guess. Like it's not like the giant cylinders that you would see the Thing lift in Mr. Fantastic's lab. It's a lot more spidery, and it looks almost like it's growing.
Yeah, there's kind of an organic quality to it. Well, I mean,
Mm.
especially here, but like, yeah. And again, like just so much thought into background detail. He's, you know, putting information on the sides of those books and everything. Just, yeah, I'm very inspired
Yeah,
by this work.
there's the
Eric, can you go
name.
back a page?
Yeah,
Those last three panels on that page there, just that subtle interaction there.
yeah,
That does again remind me of the Inkle when John DeFool finally meets. I can't remember the lady's name, but he's standing and they're seeing each other for the first time, and he holds out. He goes, "I've waited for you 10,000 years, and I dreamed of you 10,000 times." And he holds out his hand, and then there's like a couple of panels where it's like back and forth like this. That same vibe still holds up there.
yeah, yeah. It's very, very cool.
I just zoomed in on the books on that previously mentioned. I think it's the one page back. Yeah, that the books behind her. One of them has Nathaniel Essex written on it.
That's Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, a character that doesn't exist in the '60s that this is evoking.
Well, the
Like that's a nice
Nathaniel
little-
Essex, the character, was like an 1800s like
Yeah.
No, I know, but that's
scientist.
that's a nice little bit of world building of like,
Yeah.
well, this wouldn't have appeared in a '60s comic, but we're going back to the '60s feel, so we're gonna lay that seed there.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of good subtle world building. Just
Yeah.
and
Easter eggs.
something he's so good at is just background details. Like I mean, even just looking at the detail here, like there's writing as if on here as if there were like parts that you had to grab to build this. And I should say that like he also did the -1 cover for Uncanny X-Men, which is and this is like the perfect artist for like a -1 issue because he is evoking Kirby, and that's probably why they used him for the Uncanny X-Men -1 cover. But you know, as I said about the Spider-Man, the Spider-Boy issue, he was the perfect artist for that, and I think Ladrönn is the perfect artist for like a -1 Marvel comic.
Yeah. I'll repeat myself again too with this one. It's the same as Spider Boy is like for what $2, $3 cover price. You were getting a all in one best bang for your buck that month, that year, whenever this came out. Across the line, I would argue that this, having not read the whole -1 line, this is probably the best illustrated one of the bunch.
Yeah, and yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like it's just such a cool comic. And I didn't read it when it came out. I think I was just reading Image Comics around this time, so yeah, I missed out. I did want to pop up very briefly the corner box. So this is issue 51, and we do get some Moebius kind of rendering here on the faces.
Yeah.
Just that detail work, and there's another better example somewhere here. Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
And I don't think this pops up too much. It just feels like he was playing around and experimenting with different rendering techniques for an issue here and there, and then decided what worked and what didn't. But yeah, he was definitely learning during this run. I would like in the future to look at the entire Cable run. So I don't know. Chime in the comments, people. Like, would you like us to do an episode on his Cable stuff?
I would love to do that, especially the Nick Fury team up issue. In fact, we should even.
He does a great.
If anything, we should at least
Fury.
look at this one.
Look at this Steranko inspiration.
I was going to
Very
say,
cool.
like, just as a comparison issue with Stranko's art, we should do some kind of like artist mashup of two different artists interpreting the same type of story or the same type of look. Or that's an idea.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be fun. Yeah, these are fun comics. I'm getting ahead of myself, but like, look at this. Look at that. That's so fun. It's like Orion from New Gods.
Yeah.
Just yeah. So yeah. I don't know. Commenters, should we have an episode?
We'll do
On the
it
cable
anyway.
run? We'll
We'll
do it
just
anyway.
throw.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I do
Whether
also
you like it
want
or not.
to look at some like this is him doing a Superman, and then we also one day we'll look at his Inhumans
How
because
long was this Humans run?
Just 4 issues.
yeah, which he only did the first 3 unfortunately, but this was him. This was him deciding to start inking and coloring himself, and it is
Wow.
wild. Yeah, but it's just such a disappointment that he didn't do that last issue.
Who did?
And
Jorge
yeah,
Lucas.
Who?
Jorge Lucas.
Jorge Lucas.
which still looks pretty cool, but
Yeah.
it's not Jose Ladrönn. So yeah, and then yeah, we can look at all his work because I love his work so much. The Final Inkle and his hip flask stuff, and I don't know if we can do Sons of El Topo though because that's not YouTube friendly. Also, Colin said that reading it made him so sad that he can never read it again, which I get. I totally get.
I said I wouldn't read number 3 again.
And it's for anybody who has read it, they will understand.
What happens in this book?
I'll tell you later.
It
I'll tell you later.
pierces your soul with darkness.
All right.
But okay, yeah. So that was a fun episode. But like, we're all artists. So what has everybody been up to this week?
So I did a cable for this one. Now I'm still inking it, but it's more in the style of Igor Kordy. And I tried to, like I said, there's been multiple interpretations of Cable, and I love a lot of them. When Igor Kordy was on Cable, I really thought that was a strong look for him. So far, I've only inked the face, but you can see that he's got cauliflower ears, and I try to in terms of infusing realism in a character. It's not very glamorous to have cauliflower ears, but compared to Wolverine or a character that heals, of course they would have normal looking ears, but Cable doesn't heal like that.
Right.
And he's been in combat for, you could say, 100 years. So why wouldn't he have, if he's got scars, he's got to have cauliflower ears. So that's one thing that I tried to make my own. It started as a Igor Kordy interpretation and turned into more of a Daniel Warren Johnson kind of just go for it thing. And also the gun itself. So I'm referencing a Sketch Lab assault rifle 3D model. Nice. And I'm looking at Michael Golden's work, like his Punisher covers, where he draws a lot of black guns. And I'm having a hard time finding out, did he just do it all in black and then go in with white to highlight the outlines, or did he just actually ink black in right up until the outline, or what did he do? So I'm kind of playing back and forth of what I would do. I've done some cubes and stuff all in black, and then went in with a white pen and totally messed it up. And then I'm doing the reverse, where it's I'm just filling in the blacks on each space of the cubes and trying to figure out what works before I ink this assault rifle.
Nice.
Very cool. I like the thinking, the unique character work you're doing, where you really think about what his ear would look like, or just finding something.
Besides animals, Gord.
Wait, what?
That's a Freddy Got Fingered reference. Get inside your animals.
Taylor, what about you?
What I've been working on? I've been working on a short story to be submitted. I've been working with writer Edward Kane. You can find him on the Blue Sky at Nihilus at bluesky.bsk.social. But while I'm working on that, I have also been doing this. I did Spider Boy.
Oh, nice.
That's a beauty.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's I accidentally I actually tried drawing this first and then taping it down, and it just kind of happened to work out that this then extends out from the rest of it.
So he's holding the wet, or no, he's got the gun in his hand there. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry.
Yeah, it's the thing is, I'm realizing I'm laying down too much watercolor paint.
Oh yeah.
I think I need to
pull back a bit. Eh?
Yeah, pull back because it's getting kind of it's quite muddy in a way that I'm not enjoying, but that's the sort of thing that I wouldn't have known if I didn't put too much down, right? So,
man, I've been looking at José Ladrönn's commissions. He posted a bunch of commissions on his Instagram, and there's a lot of watercolor work there, and it's been wanting me to do some watercolor work because it is just gorgeous what he's been doing. So yeah, I recommend looking at that and looking and how he
did a really beautiful Medusa portrait that you showed us.
The recording. And there was a great Wolverine one. Yeah. They're very cool. So I kind of want to like study his watercolor work and like kind of harness some of that. But there's not enough hours in the day because I'm busy working on Assorted Crisis Events, which the first trade is out in stores now. This is the direct market exclusive cover, and this is the regular edition. So yeah, this is a thick book. First 5 issues, and every issue is like oversized between like the first issue was like 42 pages and every other issue was like 30 pages. But yeah, this is like a year's worth of work in this book.
Support the best comic creation team out there. And I'm not just talking about Eric and Dennis. I'm talking about Haas. I'm talking about Jordan. I'm talking about everybody.
The design work from Tom Muller. It's such a beautiful book.
It is really nicely done.
So well designed.
It reminds me a bit of Hickman stuff.
Well, I mean, Hickman is such a big Tom Muller fan that he used him for the Tom Muller to do his X-Men, the Hickman X-Men stuff.
That makes sense. Look at these colors. Jordie Bellaire just crushing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have such a great team on board with this series. But shall we close it out?
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Cool.